The book of Joshua, chapters 6, 7, and 8. Well, in our last episode, Papa John made a mistake. I should have looked up that companion verse that we ended with as we were wrapping up Joshua chapter 5. And in verse 15, it said, "And the captain of Jehovah's host said unto Yeshua, Loose thy shoe from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Yeshua did so." And then I encourage you guys to look up Genesis chapter 32:30. And if you did that, great. If you didn't, well, I'm like the school teacher that says, well, you didn't do your homework, so let's do it in class. I don't do that often, but check this out. It's a cool connection. Now, if you remember in Genesis, this is where Jacob receives his new name, Israel, and he wrestles with the angel. And Jacob was left alone and wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. So Jacob won't let go of this divine messenger. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and has prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. Amazing incident in Scripture. So many scholarly notes when I went back to Genesis chapter 32. Bruce Porter, Jared Halverson, Nehemiah Gordon, Jono Van Door, Keith Johnson. But Nehemiah, I took 2 footnotes from there, and check this out. Nehemiah says regarding this verse in Genesis, from a total Tanakh perspective, maybe they say in the end, it says in verse 30, and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I saw God face to face, and my life was saved, or my soul was saved, literally. So he saw God face to face. So if you understand that to be God in English with a capital G, then you would say that man is God, which certainly to the Jewish mind doesn't make any sense. But I can understand how a Christian would see that. This could be understood in different ways, that this was an angel of God, somebody that therefore representing God, or Elohim in the Hebrew also sometimes means angel. And the angels are also called Elohim. So maybe here Elohim means I saw an angel face to face and my soul was saved. But Jacob definitely understands that this wasn't a regular man who he's wrestled with, to be fair. And then the next note he left a few footnotes below. He says, yes, let's jump ahead to Joshua chapter 5, verse 13 and on, because we have a similar incident there. And this was just in the last episode, right? So Nehemiah is talking about the incident recorded right here in Joshua. In a similar incident where someone appears before Joshua with a sword drawn. I see it as similar because I think the function of that entity that appeared before Joshua is the same as the entity that appeared with Jacob. And it says in Joshua verse 13, and it came to pass when Joshua was at Jericho, and he lifted up his eyes, and he saw, and behold, a man was standing before him. His sword was drawn in his hand. And Joshua went to him and said, Are you with us or with our enemies? And he said, No, but rather I am Czar, which is a minister or a general, which in the verse it says, in the army of Yehovah. And now I have come. And Yeshua fell on his face to the ground. And then there's that Hebrew word which means he worshipped or bowed down. And he said to him, What does my Lord speak unto his servant? And Papa John made a big deal about the fact in the last episode about Lord doesn't have any capitals. So it's not a reference to God or deity. So what does my Lord speak to his servant? And our Hebrew scholar says, and by the way, this isn't Adonai referring to Yehovah. It's Adonai, the same thing that Jacob called Esau, meaning sir. What does sir or my Lord speak to his servant? And this officer or the general of the army of Yehovah said to Yeshua or Joshua, take off your shoe from your foot, because the place that you are standing is holy. And Joshua did so. So Nehemiah ends his footnote by making this point. Now, what was the purpose of an officer of the army of Yehovah? What was the purpose of this entity appearing before Joshua? To me, Nehemiah says, it seems to the answer seems that is that he was trying to give Joshua confidence, that Joshua would know you're not alone. There's somebody with you. You're going up against this enemy, and there's a spiritual army at your side. I think that was the purpose of this angel wrestling with Jacob, that in the morning he said, you have wrestled with man and God, and you have overcome. You won the wrestling match, and if you can beat me, the angel, guess what? I'm on your side, and I'm going with you against Esau. So you don't have to be afraid. That's how Nehemiah says, I understand at least the purpose of why this angel or man or whatever he was appeared and wrestled with Jacob. So Papa John likes that, and I think it's very fitting to begin Joshua chapter 6 with that insight from that footnote clear back in Genesis, because here we go. They're going to go up against the city of Jericho. Beautiful rendition of that going on. That's an adaptation of Israelites crossing the Jordan, the fall of Jericho. This was painted back in 1698 by a name I can't pronounce, but it's also an AI adaptation of that artwork done clear back then. So it's been enhanced and manipulated by AI, but very, very fitting. Here we go, verse 1. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. So the gates are close to the city. Verse 2. And Jehovah said unto Yeshua, see, I have given unto thee into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go around about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 shofars. You see how Papa John has crossed out the strikeout line through trumpets, and I've replaced it with shofars. Of the rams or antelope horns. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the shofars. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's antelope horn, you see rams crossed out, and it says antelope's horn. And when ye hear the sound of the shofar, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and all the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up every man straight before him. Verse 6. And Yeshua, the son of Nun, called the priests and said unto them, take up the ark of the covenant. So here comes the repetition. And let 7 priests bear 7 shofars, antelope horns, before the ark of Yehovah. And he said unto the people, pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of Yehovah. And it came to pass when Yeshua had spoken unto the people that the 7 priests bearing the 7 shofars, antelope's horns, passed on before Yehovah, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of Yehovah followed them. And the armed men went before the priests that blew with the shofars, and the rearward came up after the ark, the priests going on and blowing with the shofars. And Yeshua had commanded the people, saying, ye shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth. Wow. Until the day I bid you shout, then shall ye shout. There's something about the exactness of following the instructions of God with exactness. If that's not obvious, I don't know what is. To Papa John, that just stands out. Verse 11. So the ark of Jehovah compassed the city, going about it once, and they came into the camp and lodged in the camp. And Yeshua rose up early in the morning, and the priest took up the ark of Jehovah, and 7 priests bearing 7 shofars of antelopes' horns before the ark of Jehovah went on continually and blew with the shofars, and the armed men went before them. But the rearward came after the ark of Jehovah, the priests going on and blowing with the shofars. And the second day they compassed the city once and returned into the camp. So they did 6 days. Aren't you glad we didn't have to repeat that for every day? So thankfully, verse 14 takes us from day 2 to day 6. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose up early about the dawning of the day and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. So previously it was just 1 time per day. 16, verse 16, and it came to pass at the 7th time when the priest blew with the shofars, Yeshua said unto the people, Shout, for Jehovah hath given you the city, and the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to Jehovah. And then, get this, you guys, this goes back to Rahab. In verse 17, I've underlined it, and it says, So only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. There we have the salvation of Rahab and her household symbolically. And yes, her sins are listed right out there. Rahab the harlot. And you know what? So does her salvation. It's all listed there. That's the power of God in our lives. Beautiful. And verse 18, and ye in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed, when ye take of the accursed thing and make the camp of Israel accursed and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto Jehovah. Wow, so it's not for you. Who's it for? It's for God, for the Father, for Jehovah. They shall come into the treasury of the Lord, or Jehovah. Verse 20, so the people shouted when the priest blew with the shofars. And it came to pass when the people heard the sound of the shofar, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox and sheep and ass with the edge of the sword. But Yeshua had said unto the 2 men that had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house and bring out thence the woman and all that she hath, as ye swear unto her. How beautiful. How important it is to keep our covenants when we make an oath and to keep it. Verse 23, and the young men that were spies went in and brought out Rahab and her father and her mother and her brethren and all that she had, and they brought out all of her kindred and left them without the camp of Israel. And they burnt the city with fire and all that was therein, only the silver and the gold and the vessels of brass and of iron they put into the treasury of the house of Jehovah. And Yeshua, saved Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had. And she dwelled in Israel even unto this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua slash Yeshua sent to spy out Jericho. And Yeshua adjured, and I've underlined that, but then I've put in parentheses, invoked a curse or laid an oath. He charged them, who? The people at the time, saying, Cursed be the man before Jehovah that raiseth up and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and his youngest son shall set up the gates of it. Now, Papa John doesn't quite understand that entire what that means, but it sounds like it's not a good thing. Verse 27. So Jehovah was with Yeshua, and his fame was noised throughout all the country. Now, here's a note from Papa John. So, after the fall of Jericho, Rahab and her entire household were spared from the destruction and integrated into the Israelite community. She later married an Israelite man named Solomon, uh, placing her in the direct biblical lineage of King David and Jesus Christ. The key details of her life after Jericho: she lived and integrated among the Israelites, and her family was preserved according to Jehovah's promise as spoken by Yeshua's promise or Joshua's. In time, Rahab married Solomon, sometimes spelled Salma, who was from the tribe of Judah. This couple had a son named Boaz, of which the lineage of Christ comes through. Boaz later married Ruth. Rahab became the great-great-grandmother of King David. This makes her one of the few women specifically named in the genealogy of Jesus in Matthew 1, verse 5. We find her listed by her name in Hebrew in the KJV New Testament book of Matthew, verse 5, and it's spelled as with an R-A-C-H-A-V, Rachav, with a V on the end. And it's pronounced as Rachav, which, what an amazing woman, and one of the few actually named women of Holy Writ. And so Papa John took time to cut and paste. I took Matthew chapter 1, and here's a note that says, notice often the English KJV names have been replaced with original Hebrew names. So all throughout the genealogy of Christ, right there in the first chapter of the New Testament, Matthew chapter 1, this is the scroll of the generations of Yeshua Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. And you go through all these, you get to verse 5, and Salmon begat Boaz of Rechab, or Rechab. This is the same woman here that we've learned so much about. And Boaz begat Obed of Ruth, and Obed begat Jesse. And then Jesse's the King James English name, Yeshai. I can't say it, Yeshai. It's so funny how the names change so much when they put the English together. They would hear these Hebrew names and do their best to sound it out in English. But anyway, verse 6, and Jesse begat David the king, and David the king begat Solomon, Solomon of her of whom David had taken Urias. And scrolling all the way down to verse 16, and here's Jacob, who we just talked about, wrestling with the angel. His name is changed, but they still call him Jacob here, or in Hebrew, Yaakov. He begat Yosef, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Yeshua, who is called Messiah. But look, I crossed out husband. Joseph and Mary. What? I crossed out husband? In the ancient Hebrew Matthew? In the ancient Hebrew Matthew, that's an incorrect translation that we inherit in the English Bible. So when we get to Matthew, Papa John is going to explain to you the importance of realizing that Joseph's father, his name was Joseph, and that when it says Joseph begat Mary, um, it's just, I'll get into it later. It's not Joseph the husband, it's Joseph Sr., his father. And I don't want to take away from the focus of this book here, but there's another teaser. I hope you look forward to doing the New Testament. I believe next year with Papa John. Okay, here we go with Joshua chapter 7. But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the cursed thing. Oh, are you kidding me already? So they were just given instructions on exactly what to do with exactness. But in verse 1, the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing, for Achan, the son of Kami, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zechariah of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing, and the anger of Yehovah was kindled against the children of Israel. Didn't he just say, this is for me? All the silver and gold is for Yehovah? All right, verse 2. And Yeshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Beth-aven, on the east side of Bethel, and spake unto them, saying, Go up and view the country. And the men went up and viewed Ai. And they returned to Joshua or Yeshua, and said unto him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai. and make not all the people to labor there, or labor thither, for they are but few. So, verse 4, so there went up thither of the people about 3,000 men, and they fled before the men of Ahi. And the men of Ahi smote of them about 36 men, for they chased them from before the gate even unto Shebarim, and smote them in the going down. Wherefore the hearts of the people melted and became as water. So the Israelites thought they could just do this quick battle. They're so confident, and it didn't go the way they planned. Verse 6, and Joshua rent his clothes and fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of Jehovah until the eventide, he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads. And Joshua said, Alas, Adonai, Jehovah. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Let's just stare. Papa John put it in burnt orange, the word God. And look, God is all capitals, G-O-D. And before it, it says, O Lord. But O Lord just has a capital L and lowercase O-R-D. So to get past the words on the page, to get closer to the original history, language, and context, I'm going to start over with verse 7. And Joshua, but I've replaced it with his Hebrew name. Yeshua said, Alas, O Adonai, which is basically saying, O Lord in Hebrew. And then instead of the Lord in all capitals, L-O-R-D, this time it's G-O-D, but all capitals. And so this is common, but not as common as the capitals, all capitals, L-O-R-D. I'm just hoping to help you have the eyes to see, because when we get out of the New or into the New Testament and out of the Old Testament, this method doesn't work anymore. So it's important to get used to the phraseology, because we won't have the benefit of the King James translators, all capitals, to indicate that originally this actually had the divine name there. So I just want to point that out to explain why I did what I did. Okay, one more time, verse 7. And Yeshua said, Alas, O Adonai Jehovah, wherefore hast thou at all brought this people over Jordan to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites to destroy us? Would to Elohim we had been content and dwelt on the other side of Jordan. Oh, how dramatic. They just want to give up so quickly. I guess it's easy for me to say sitting here in my soft seat, right? Verse 8, and back to the capital O, L-O-R-D, O Jehovah, what shall I say when Israel turneth their backs before their enemies? Verse 9, for the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land shall hear of it and shall environ us around and cut off our name from the earth. And what wilt thou do unto thy great name? So Nehemiah Gordon interjects here. He's got a footnote. Papa John felt like I wanted to make sure this was preserved right here. He says, so this is interesting because before I was talking to you, I was talking to Yoel ben Shlomo today, and we were reading through Joshua, and this is Joshua chapter 7, verse 8, and Joshua is pleading before Jehovah, and he says in verse 8, O Jehovah, what shall I say when Israel turns its back before its enemies? For the Canaanites, this is verse 9, and all the inhabitants of the land will hear it and surround us and cut off your name from the earth. And then it says, what will you do for your great name? And this is after, of course, someone took some of the banned things from Jericho after it was destroyed and hid it under his tent. And 36 odd people fell in battle against Ai. But in Leviticus 26:45, it says, but for their sake I will remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the nations, that I might be their God, which would have said Elohim, that I might be their Elohim. And then it finishes, I am Yehovah. And Nehemiah says, I love that. And I'm grateful for the insights and the ability he has to connect all these scriptures together that belong, well, they need to be connected. I call them companion verses, CVs. I hope you appreciate that as much as I do. Now we continue with verse 10. And Jehovah said unto Yeshua, get thee up, wherefore liest thou thus upon thy face? Israel hath sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant, which I commanded them, for they have taken of the accursed thing, and have also stolen, and dissembled also, and they have put it even among their own stuff. Verse 12, therefore the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. Neither will I be with you any more, except ye destroy the accursed from among you. Uh, Verse 13, up, sanctify the people, and say, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow. For thus saith Jehovah Elohim of Israel, there is an accursed thing in the midst of thee, O Israel. Thou canst not stand before thine enemies until ye take away the accursed thing among you. In the morning, therefore, ye shall be brought according to your tribes, and it shall be that the tribe which Jehovah taketh shall come according to the families thereof, and the family which Jehovah shall take shall come by households, and the household which Jehovah shall take shall come man by man. And it shall be that he that is taken with the accursed thing shall be burnt with fire, he and all that he hath, because he hath transgressed the covenant of Jehovah, and because he hath wrought folly in Israel. So Yeshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And he brought the family of Judah, and he took the family of the Zarhites, and he brought the family of the Zarhites man by man, and Zabdi was taken, and he brought his household man by man, and Achan, and the son of Carmi, and the son of Zabdi, and the son of Zerach of the tribe of Judah was taken. And Yeshua said unto Achan, my son, give, I pray thee, glory to Jehovah Elohim of Israel, and make confession unto him, and tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me. And Achan answered Yeshua and said, indeed, I have sinned against Jehovah Elohim of Israel, and thus have I done. Verse 21, and when I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonian-ish garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them and took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. So Yeshua sent messengers, and they ran into the tent, and behold, it was hid in his tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and brought them unto Yeshua, and unto all the children of Israel, and laid them out before Jehovah. And Yeshua and all of Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerach, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had, and they brought them unto the valley of Achor. And Yeshua said, why hast thou troubled us? Jehovah shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him, with stones, and burned them with fire, after they had stoned them with stones. Holy smokes, don't we live in a pampered age? It was so different back then, so immediate. Wow. Verse 26, and they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So Jehovah turned from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor unto this day. So when this was written, they still knew where that pile of stones, that heap of stones was at unto this day. Remarkable. But many died and were wounded because of his actions that affected the entire community. You know, we hear a lot about, my sins are private, they don't affect society. And I'm afraid that's not true, as evidenced here. Even though in our day we don't have the capital punishment immediately for such crimes, there's no such thing as a private sin. It affects the whole, not just the single, just the individual. All right, Joshua chapter 8. And Jehovah said unto Yeshua, fear not, neither be thou dismayed. Take all the people of war with thee, and arise, go up to Ahi. See, I have given unto thee the hand, the king of Ahi, or Ai, and his people, and his city, and his land. Verse 2, and thou shalt do to Ai and her king as thou didst unto Jericho and her king. Only the spoil thereof and the cattle thereof shall ye take for a prey unto yourselves. Lay thee in ambush for the city behind it. So Yeshua arose and all the people of war to go up against Ai. And Joshua or Yeshua chose out 30,000 mighty men of valor and sent them away by night. So instead of just 3,000, now they're sending much more. And he commanded them, saying, Behold, ye shall lie in wait against the city, even behind the city. Go not very far from the city, but be ye all ready. And I and all the people that are with me will approach unto the city, and it shall come to pass when they come out against us, as at the first, that we will flee before them. Verse 6, for they will come out after us, in parentheses, till we have drawn them from the city. For they will say, they flee before us, as at the first. Therefore we will flee before them. Verse 7, then ye shall rise up from the ambush and seize upon the city, for Yehovah your Elohim will deliver it unto your hand. And it shall be, when ye have taken the city, that ye shall set the city on fire. According to the commandment of Yehovah shall ye do. See, I have commanded you. Yeshua therefore sent them forth, and they went to lie in ambush, and abode between Bethel and Ai, at the west side of Ai. But Yeshua lodged that night among the people. And Yeshua rose up early in the morning and numbered the people, and went up, and he and the elders of Israel before the people of Ai. So numbered the people, sounds like roll call, right? Verse 11, and all the people, even the people of war that were with him, went up and drew nigh and came before the city and pitched on the north side of Ai. Now there was a valley between them and Ai. And he took about 5,000 men and set them to lie in ambush between Bethel and Ai on the west side of the city. And when they had set the people, even all the host that was on the north of the city, and their leers in wait on the west of the city, Yeshua went that night into the midst of the valley. And it came to pass, when the king of Ai saw it, that they hastened and rose up early. And the men of the city went out against Israel to battle, he and his people, at a time appointed before the plain. But he wist not that there were leers in ambush against him behind the city. And Yeshua and all Israel made as if they were beaten before them, and fled by the way of the wilderness. And all the people that were in Ai, or maybe Ai, were called together to pursue after them, and they pursued after Joshua or Yeshua and were drawn away from the city. And there was not a man left of Ai or Bethel that went not out after Israel. And they left the city open and pursued after Israel. And Yehovah said unto Yeshua, stretch out the spear that is in thine hand towards Ai, for I will give it unto thine hand. And Yeshua stretched out the spear that he had in his hand towards the city. And the ambush arose quickly out of their place, and they ran as soon as he had stretched out his hand. And they entered into the city, and took it, and hasted, and set the city on fire. And when the men of Ai looked behind them, they saw, and behold, the smoke of the city ascending up to heaven. And they had no power to flee this way or that way. And the people that fled to the wilderness turned back upon the pursuers. And when Yeshua and all of Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city, and that the smoke of the city ascended, then they turned again and slew the men of Ai. And the others issued out of the city against them. So they were in the midst of Israel, some on this side and some on that side, and they smote them, so that they let none of them remain or escape. And the king of Ai, they took alive and brought him to Yeshua. And it came to pass, when Israel had made an end of slaying all the inhabitants of Ai in the field and in the wilderness wherein they chased them, and when they were all fallen on the edge of the sword until they were consumed, that all the Israelites returned unto Ai and smote it with the edge of the sword. And so it was that all that fell that day, both men and women, were 12,000, even all the men of Ai or Ai. For Joshua Yeshua drew not his hand back, wherewith he stretched out the spear until he had utterly destroyed all the inhabitants of Ai. So he kept that spear elevated. He didn't withdraw his hand back. This is reminiscent of Moses holding his hands up with the help of Hur and Aaron. Interesting. Verse 27. Only the cattle and the spoil of that city Israel took for a prey unto themselves, according to the word of Jehovah, which he commanded Yeshua. And Yeshua burnt Ai and made it an heap forever, even desolation unto this day. And the king of Ai, he hanged on a tree until eventide. And as soon as the sun was down, Yeshua commanded that they should take his carcass down from the tree and cast it at the entering of the gate of the city, and raise thereon a great heap of stones that remaineth unto this day. Then Yeshua built an altar unto Jehovah, Elohim of Israel, in Mount Har Aval. Verse 31. And Moses, the servant of Jehovah, or as Moses, the servant of Jehovah, commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of whole stones, over which no man hath lift up any iron. And they offered thereon burnt offerings unto Jehovah, and sacrificed peace offerings. And then I'm going to skip a lot of notes here from Nehemiah. And look at this altar. This is reminiscent of the altar that's Joshua's altar that they built before they crossed the River Jordan. And this was in a previous episode. It was found about, 16, 17 years ago. It's actually it was discovered in the mid-'80s, but made publicly known. And what did they find at Joshua's altar in the last year or two? They found a curse tablet made of lead. And from the Latter day Saint perspective, with the history of golden plates and brass plates and metallic records, this is a folded up curse tablet found at Joshua's altar, where they did the blessings and the cursings when they took upon themselves, the rising generation that replaced their parents in the wanderings in the wilderness. At this altar, they have discovered this curse tablet. With the help of technology, they were able to uh, decipher what's written on it before it was folded up. And I talked about this previously. It's pretty cool. Cursed, 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 cursed be the God Yahweh, which we understand with Nehemiah's help would be Jehovah. You will die cursed, cursed, you will surely die, cursed by Jehovah, cursed, cursed, cursed. These scholars, like most of the world, don't understand the importance of the vowel markers that go along with the consonants. But this whole debate about the pronunciation, how to pronounce the name, the divine name, continues to this day. But Papa John feels blessed to be, I believe, in possession of a key of knowledge about the mystery of God, not only his name, but his characteristics and his nature, which is physical and not just spiritual within the Latter-day Saint theology. And if that sounds strange to you, that's okay. We could be right, we could be wrong. I'm open to correction, but there's so much and so many reasons why we believe that to be so, especially when we think about what we're taught during the creation epic story, that man was created in the image of God, which gives us that even the Jews hate to kill their enemies, because even their enemies are made in the image of God. I know in Western theology, with the Western Christianity, it's a strange doctrine. It's not so strange in the Eastern type churches. Verse 32, and he wrote there upon the stones a copy of the law of Moses, which he wrote in the presence of the children of Israel. And all of Israel and their elders and officers and their judges stood on this side of the ark, and on that side before the priests, the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of Jehovah, as well as the stranger, as he that was born among them, half of them over against Mount Gezerim, Har Gerizim, and half of them over against Mount Ebal, or Mount is Har, and instead of Ebal, it's Arval in Hebrew. As Moses, the servant of Jehovah, commanded them that they should bless the people of Israel. And after he read all the words of the law, the blessings and the cursings, according to all that was written in the book of the law, there was not a word of all that Moses commanded, which Joshua read not before all the congregation of Israel, with the women and the little ones and the strangers that were conversant among them. What a powerful 3 chapters of Yeshua, of the book of Joshua. Thanks for taking the time to participate. Papa John enjoys putting these together. It's not easy. It's very busy here at the ranch. Often it's one take. That's all I have time to do. I know it's kind of a primitive format, but I do this for my children and my children's children, my future posterity, my current extended family and friends, and those that have any interest, I'm welcome to share. Think about these things. I hope these tidbits and Torah pearls, actually, we're no longer in the Torah, these prophet pearls have value to you in your faith journey as you continue to study. Uh, May we all be the best example of a believer we know how to be between now and the next episode. And I look forward to talking to you guys again soon.